welcome back to Oki Magazine's YouTube channel. I'm Daryl Yoki and I'm here with the wonderful artist Luisa Rivera. Welcome.
Thank you, Daryl. How are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Good. Thanks for the invitation.
Oh, of course, of course. I have to say I first encountered your artwork with this book here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love.
So and I remember I think I ordered it off of Amazon and there was like different volumes of that work and I saw the cover of this like I have to get this one.
Oh, yeah. That's great. Thank you.
um, so maybe you can give us a little background about yourself. You're originally from Chile, correct?
Yes, I'm originally from Chile. I was born and raised in Chile. Then I moved to the US. I did my master's degree in Minneapolis College of Art and Design. So I studied there like a master in fine arts for 2 years. It was like kind of specialized in illustration, but also keeping my interest in painting because I have also my fine arts background. So it was a big, like a mixture of both. And yeah, after 2 years, I decided to move to London. So I've been living here for almost 7 years now. So yeah.
Oh wow, okay. What made you decide to move to London?
Well, I was in the States for 2 years, and I think I decided to continue my um, kind of like the professional practice aspect of both fine arts and illustration. I was with a scholarship in the US that basically when the program finished, you have to leave the US. And if you want to apply for like a working visa, you have to move back to your home country for 2 years. That doesn't have to happen like right away. You can do it another time in your life. So I decided to maybe postpone that a little bit and
Uh-huh.
continue somewhere else. And yeah, London was also a place where I could continue not only learning about my own practice, but also speaking in English and continue with that. I really admire both the industry that's related with fine arts and illustration in the UK.
Mhm.
So I think London was, yeah, like a place to go. Very different from Minneapolis, which was like the rhythm and the pace was a bit different.
Yeah.
So also, I think I was eager to live again in a hectic capital. I'm from Santiago in Chile, so yeah, like I think London was the right amount of um, maybe both emotions and also the rhythm, like just exhibitions and all the art world here is really interesting and inspiring. So it was like a good place to move.
Oh, nice, nice. Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, Minneapolis is probably a lot more slow paced than London.
Yeah, it was also really nice in terms of inspiration. I got to connect with nature way more than I've been able to do in like larger capitals, and I
Mhm.
think that also inspired a lot of my work.
Uh-huh.
So I was able to get a bit of that context there. Well, Minneapolis has a very like all the seasons change radically from one to the other. So
Mhm.
also experiencing that, it was not only like a slower pace, but also noticing the seasons in a more radical way. So all of that also was a big inspiration in my work. So yeah.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Did it take you a while to get adjusted to the British accent?
Yes, a lot. I mean, I think I'm I still struggle after 7 years. I still and I have this accent which I cannot erase. So I think I'm
It's
able
okay.
to English, but every time like it's very clear that I'm from somewhere else. So, but yeah, I mean, the culture is very different as well. So maybe it was more about that rather than the accent. But yeah, it was only like a couple of months of discovering how to open up in this new culture.
That's okay. That's like yeah, I grew up speaking English, and I have trouble with British accents still, so it's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so you do a wide variety of works from what I saw, like editorials and like picture books,
Yeah.
and I saw comics and covers for books and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do a bit of everything.
Uh-huh.
I really enjoy that because I'm kind of like more convinced in this idea of like more the hybrid artist. So it's not only like illustration; it's also painting, and I'm always interested in making both. And within illustration, I've been involved in publishing projects, so illustrating books, book covers as well, which is like a bit of a different field. I've been doing editorial projects like both for magazines and newspapers. I've done a bit of like commercial projects, like a campaign I did with Lush, or like wine labels, things more in that aspect. And yeah, like also I've done like comic strips, not a comic book yet. Maybe at some point.
Okay.
uh, it's a lot of work, so both like graphic novels or like a comic book
Mhm.
implies quite a lot of work, and I think I have to maybe tune into that pace a bit more before I jump into that process. But yeah, also I have my painting practice, and those are works that are also done with traditional media. So I work mostly with watercolor, gouache, or any water-based paints,
Uh-huh.
and I use the same vocabulary in both sides. So both my commercial and my personal work,
Mhm.
they're very in sync, and actually they inform each other. So it's a really nice process to jump from one side to the other.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah.
Um, for like projects like Cien Años de Soledad, how do you get into the process of doing that work? Like, did you have to read the novel and then like kind of formulate the pictures in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, Cien Años de Soledad, or like 100 Years of Solitude, is a book that in Latin America you grew up with. So I've read it in the past like two times, so both in school and in another different moment of my life.
Uh-huh.
So it's like a book that is part of the culture, not just for Colombia, where the author is from, but also in whole Latin America, because I think it describes a lot of the Latin America identity,
Uh-huh.
um, all the there are different metaphors in the book that apply for many countries who have like that have had dictatorships, for example.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, it resonates with Latin America a lot, and it's part of the Latin American boom in that's one of the key books in that movement.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, it was part of my imagery since forever. So when I when I had to illustrate, it was actually quite frightening, because it's like, how do you manage to convey an imagery or like a world that maybe everyone has already in their minds,
Right. Mhm.
without trying to erase that, but at the same time to contribute to the book. So
Mhm.
yeah, I think I spent like maybe 2 days like panicking a little bit, and then and then I was like, okay. And also because that book is written in the genre of magic realism, it's
Right.
a genre that it's not very easy to illustrate because it's not fantastical.
Mhm.
It tells very strange occurrences as everyday actions as well. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's
Uh-huh.
not fantastical. So it's like a way of illustrating. It's very different.
Mhm.
So yeah, I did, of course, like I read the book with the eyes of an illustrator. Then I studied a lot of the descriptions, but
Mhm.
also something that allowed me to understand the book a bit better was to like research whatever the author had said about the book. So when I was painting or already like sketching,
Mhm.
I kept listening to interviews that Gabriel Garcia Marquez had during that time.
Mhm.
Um, so it was really interesting because it not only I was not only inside the book, but it was also inside the author's mind. And I think
Right.
that's really important when you're trying to illustrate like a masterpiece, like 100 Years of Solitude, because you have to understand the whole context, not just the work or the novel. So I think I was lucky to have that material around, like YouTube, and yeah, there are plenty of interviews. He liked to talk a lot, so
Yeah.
there was plenty of material.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah,
It's interesting to hear that process because I'm kind of doing the same thing. I'm currently working on making some music based
yeah,
off the novel, and like you said, I'm doing the same thing, watching YouTube interviews of him. Although for me, like I can understand Spanish a little bit, so I'm kind of trying to practice my Spanish and then understand the depth of this, immense story at the same time. So it's like my brain's like it explode every
yeah.
like 5 minutes. I'm trying to listen to him.
Yeah, it's fascinating to listen to him like speak. And there's also, because the this book has been so important, there are so many like essays also about the book. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see your take in the musical aspect. So
Oh, most definitely, most
yeah,
definitely. Yeah, I'm kind of see what it's gonna be like myself. You see.
yeah. Are you doing like a solo project, or is it more with like more musicians?
It'll be with my band actually,
Okay.
like
Yeah.
my working band, and yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. Yeah,
Nice. Yeah. I
yeah.
want. Let me know when it's ready. So yeah, it would be interesting to listen to
Oh,
that.
most definitely. Like I said, I'll be looking at it from the outside. Like, did I do
Yeah. Nice.
that?
I see. Hmm.
Yeah. But I also wanted to touch on. I think another. I think it's a picture book. And correct me if I'm wrong. In Aquel Faro is a
Yeah.
picture book that you wrote. Yeah.
Yeah. So an aquel faro is would be translated like maybe in the lighthouse or in that lighthouse. So it's like a story. It has no words. It's my first book as both the illustrator and the author.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an interesting book. It's called silent book in the publishing world because basically you have a script, but you don't have like words in the pages, so everything is narrated through the images. Uh,
Oh.
so it's a story between two characters, like a girl and an older lady that they live in an island, in like far away, like a remote island. And the idea is that they have to like take care of the light in the lighthouse. And
Uh-huh.
there's like a whole idea behind it without any words, but the idea of like trespassing traditions, trespassing communication, especially between women, that I think has been neglected throughout history as well. We're more aware of like the traditional, more male way of communicating culture, but there are so many examples in throughout history where you can learn that also the connection between women in that kind of scenario is really interesting. So I wanted to depict that a little bit, and I think it's also like a whole metaphor about life. So yeah, it's only these two characters, that they come into the island and they're taken away from the island, so you never see other humans,
Uh-huh.
but only them. So yeah,
Almost definitely. I mean, the little bit I saw on your website, like, this is what I love about your artwork. Like, there's so much encapsulated with one image that I really appreciate.
so thank
Um,
you.
I was actually I went on Amazon, but I couldn't find it, and I was wondering if maybe you could share with us where we can find this book at.
Yeah, well, actually, it's published by a publishing, like a press in Chile. I think they have like an online platform where you can like maybe order it online.
Okay.
But I'm not sure if it's already like available. I think they're working on that. So the
Okay.
book was also published in Korea, so it's available in Korean. But since it doesn't have any words, like the only thing would be Korean title.
Oh,
But
okay.
hopefully hopefully it will be much easier to get the book. I've had the same question, so thanks for being interested in it. And yeah, if it ever gets like published or available in a different platform, I'm always like communicating that on social media, so I'll definitely let everyone know.
Oh yes, yeah. Because this would be perfect for my daughter. I wanted to share it with
Yeah,
my daughter. Let her
that
kind of
would be really
create
nice.
the story. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that would be really nice.
I also wanted to touch back on like kind of circling back to the creative process that you were doing with Cien Años de Soledad.
Yeah.
With other works like with in Aquel Faro, how was the process with that? Did you sketch it out and then kind of color it in, or like and like how did you decide on the images that you did for
Yeah.
them?
Well, for an Faro, it's a very different process because it's kind of like my own story. So I'm normally when I illustrate a book by an author, like I do, of course, I read the story and I do the research, not only in terms of like the content of the story, but also reading about the author.
Mhm.
And when you write or you're the author of your own book, it's like a different process. Like I feel if you compare to film, for example, when you're illustrating someone's story, I think it's more like a director of photography, for example, that you have to be very conscious about the visual aspect. But also when you do your own book, it's that you're doing also the script, so you have to do like both aspects. And I think even though it's a silent book, that means that we have no words. I still had a script, so
Mhm.
I was basically deciding the images and also the narrative of the text.
Uh-huh.
So, and I think I mostly the way I start is that I do like a storyboard. Yeah, storyboard is when you place like tiny images. So it's basically to define the whole composition, decide the actions, and those are very like small drawings, like basically this side, because
Hmm.
it's just to define really like the composition very quickly.
Okay.
So after that, once it's settled and once I decided how it would look, all the shots basically, if we still think about the film analogy, I go and I do more developed sketches. So refined sketches is the way I say. And then once that is approved, sometimes I would do like a color mockup to understand the palette, like the atmosphere. And
Hmm.
if you see like in Aquel Faro, it's like a very different palette from 100 Years of Solitude.
Hmm.
So basically deciding the palette is also like a very important thing in my work.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, I tried out different colors, and once that's ready, I can like begin with the painting process, which I really enjoy. But I think it's the part that I can do in a more automatic way or in a more meditative way, because sketching is really like hands-on, really thinking about the composition. It can take longer as well because you don't know exactly how it would go. But
Uh-huh.
once I start painting, I know exactly the time it can take, or like how I can do it, because I'm really used to it. And yeah, I think that's mostly. Then it's like a bit of post production, because I always, although I work with traditional media, I scan the work,
Uh-huh.
um, and sometimes you have to tweak certain colors or clean certain details. So post production is always really a key aspect.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I have to ask, have you ever done like CD covers or like CD artwork as
yeah,
well? Okay.
exactly. Yeah,
I think we have similar mindsets. We might have to collaborate at some point.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, that's so funny when you said the poster boards are creating the story, and I like, wow, it's like she's inside my head for what I'm
Yeah,
doing with 100 Years of Solitude.
yeah. No, that's I think creative processes are like, even though you come from the music world and I come from more like visual arts or illustration, I think
Uh,
you can still connect a lot of the process aspects.
mhm.
So yeah, I think there's always like a thread that connects everything.
Most definitely, most definitely. And so tell me, who are some of your artists, contemporaries, or maybe predecessors that influenced your style today? When I
Mm,
first saw it, I had the impression of some influences from Freedom. The first time I saw your artwork,
yeah,
I don't know if that's what you're trying for, but that's just what struck me when I saw
yeah.
some. Yeah.
Well, I think the style is something that you cannot control. Probably music is very similar, or you
Yeah.
train to work on a specific genre. But I think you're with painting, it just comes naturally.
Hmm.
So I think what I've done, instead of trying to emulate like a style, I've realized that I have a style that, of course, like I can tweak, I can change the materials, but there's still something that appears very intuitively. And with that, I've had inspirations or references also.
Uh-huh.
So Frida Kahlo, of course, it's has always been a major influence, because I think there's something in the style that resonates with her.
Uh-huh.
But also, for example, I love Henry Matisse in terms of the way he works with the color and works with the composition.
Okay.
Um, and I really like his whole like productive life, because he changed from different in his case it changed different like a lot with the style.
Hmm.
So he's also like a person that's worth looking into if you want to make those tweaks, but also like a very important painter that I love, and actually she passed away only a couple of days ago, is Paula Rego.
Oh
She's
no.
a Portuguese painter, but she was living, I think, from the 70s here in London. Actually, she had her studio in Camden. And I really like her work, not only how, like the style that she has, but also the way she understands storytelling, which is something that I'm really, yeah, I think that's the thread that connects illustration with painting as well, at least in my case. So I was always really inspired by her, and I'm still are. But yeah, she was a really important. I think she's one of the greatest painters anyway.
Uh-huh.
Kiki Smith also is a visual artist that I really love. There's also Violeta Parra. She's a Chilean artist, and she also had this thing that she could paint, but she could also play music. And the way she created visual art was from embroidery to painting to papel mache or like paper mache.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, she was like very versatile as well, and I admire that possibility because I think it's something that I need to remind myself of to always keep something a bit more like hybrid or like a bit open. I tend to do like, okay, if I'm doing this, I'm an illustrator, and then it's like, okay, but I also want to be a painter, and it's like, of course you can be a painter as well. So it's
Uh-huh.
always admiring artists who kept their creativity a bit open,
Uh-huh.
because that I find that really inspiring and necessary for work as well.
Oh, most definitely, most definitely.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is so amazing. I was gonna
Yeah.
ask, do you find that because you know obviously we talked about it, touched upon it earlier with the Hundred Years of Solitude, the magical realism. Do you feel like that makes it way into your artwork as well? Because I see so many things in there. It's like, man, this is so. It's like an ethereal world, you know.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's I'm sure there's symbolisms in there, but I'm like, wow, this is like it's transporting me to it. It's making my you know, it's a lot of stuff going on. I really like it.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think that's really how to say. It's like so intuitively. I think in the Latin American identity as well, not
Uh-huh.
only magic realism as an identity or as a genre, but
Mhm.
also, for example, like I'm from Chile, and it's a lot of people know Chile as like the country of poets because we have amazing poetry, and that's something that I've always been inspired by.
Mhm.
So actually, I used to write. That was my first connection to creativity was through writing. And at some point, I did the transition from writing to painting, and um, it was really natural to me as well. But the word has always been part of my practice, and
Mhm.
I think I'm not only inspired by magic realism, but also in poetry. So, for example, if I always say to um, like illustrators or painters, like if you want to have like an exercise that you can do, like read poetry, and like the poetical image is also something that you can work on.
Mhm.
So I think I'm influenced by both quite a lot,
Uh-huh.
and I definitely connect that with my roots, um, how I approach poetry since I was really little. So yeah,
Oh, very nice. Yeah, because I was saying, like I said, I mean, I just saw so many things. Like I was checking out all the different projects you had. I'm like,
yeah.
this is really cool stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, and I
Okay.
had the chance to illustrate a few poets as well. But yeah, like I think that's my if I have to choose like an inspiration, I think it would be that because it always keeps everything open
Mhm.
and it allows you to talk in metaphors. And I think painting is a lot about that. Like if you look at my personal paintings, they include metaphors, but also if you look at illustration, you're doing visual metaphors. So I think poetry is always like the root or whatever connects the work. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. And
Mhm.
I probably already know the answer to this, but I'm assuming you also love listening to music sometimes when you're painting as well.
Yeah, of course. It's like part of the process, actually.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So you know, we got all the arts flowing around to inspire all of us.
Yeah, I think it's for me. It's also part of the process. Depends on whatever I'm working. That is what I will listen. But yeah, there are like I think it's also part of the inspiration to jump into that. And I think music has the and you will know this very well that music allows you to go into a very specific um, like emotions or like frame of emotions as well. So if you're working on a very specific project, I would always go into music also to create the atmosphere around it. So yeah, music is a must.
Oh, yes, oh, I'm glad. Yes,
Yeah,
that's wonderful.
yeah.
Um, I know you're busy. I don't want to keep you too long, but I wanted to ask real quick. What are some future projects we can look for that you're doing right, working on right now, or if you're allowed to say, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think I'm still allowed to say it, but I'm working on two different books. One is more like children's book, and the other one is like literature, more in general. So I cannot give a bit like more information at the moment, but probably very soon. And I'm still doing my own. Like I want to give myself a bit of space to do my personal paintings as well, like my personal work.
Uh-huh.
My dream is to exhibit that, so that's my next goal. I'm gonna make it happen. So yeah, and I'm still also working. I'm doing editorial work, so I'm working for magazines. I'm working for a magazine in Spain at the moment, one in Austria as well.
Uh-huh.
It's a magazine that I've been working with for maybe the last 2 or 3 years. So I'm always doing collaborations with them. So
Mhm.
a bit of everything, which is really really good.
Oh, awesome. Well, the owner of the magazine actually collaborated with me on my last CD. He's an artist, so I think he knows
Uh,
some galleries around the area. So we'll see if we can
yeah,
help out getting the exhibition
that would
happening.
be nice. Thank
Hopefully, I can get over. If I can make it, if I can get the plane ticket to London, I'll come check it
you.
out.
Please do. It would be amazing. And if I make it to New York, because you're in New York, right?
Yes, yes. Well, basically, I'm
Okay.
next to it, but yes, New York's too
Yeah.
expensive to live in, but I'm basically
Okay.
there.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
if I'm there, and you're playing, I'll be there as well. So
Gracias. And actually, before we head out, can you tell people where they can find you, like your website and maybe Instagram and stuff?
yeah.
Um,
So my website is Luisa Rivera, like my name, .cl. That's the I don't have .com because it's I like the CL. It's for Chile, so CL. So that's my website. I'm also on Instagram and Twitter, like with LA Luisa Rivera. So I think in both you can find me like that. I think I use mostly those. I haven't been into like other social media like TikTok or anything. So I'm
yeah,
planning to stay
too
away from it anyway.
much.
But for me, like the social media that I use the most at the moment is Instagram because it allows me to show process. It's still, I think Instagram is changing quite a lot, which is sad,
Yeah.
but it's still really the social media that engages with social like visual content a bit more. So yeah, I mean it's really helpful for visual artists to communicate things through that. Like I show process, I show finished projects, I create videos, so a bit of everything you can find in my Instagram.
Oh, wonderful! Thank you. Yeah, and I've seen it before, so yes, you have to check it out. Follow her
Thank
on
you.
Instagram and everything. Oh, well, thank you so much for making time for this, and hopefully
Oh,
we'll reconnect and do another interview again, maybe after the books come out, and
yeah,
I'll have some more time to practice my Spanish. Maybe I'll do the interview in Spanish next time.
yeah. And also, like, there's another Gabriel Garcia Marquez book that I illustrated. It's called El amor en los tiempos del cólera, so love in times of cholera.
Uh-huh.
So that was also like another project that connects to the book that you were referring to, and I think it's interesting to see the progression between the both books. So if you're really into Gabriel Garcia Marquez, I think I would recommend that book. It doesn't have to be the illustrated version, but you can
Oh
you
no,
can
yeah, and
and
it's
that one is available in English because it was published in English in the States. So
uh,
you'll be able to read that more easily.
okay. Oh yeah. And I actually I forgot to mention. I'm glad you reminded me. Thank you so much because I do remember seeing that you did the illustration for it, and that was a beautiful cover too as well.
Thank you
Oh,
very much.
maybe I'll try to pick it up. This one right here. Like I'm using it for Spanish practice, and to be honest, I don't know about half the words.
Okay, yeah, no worries. It's a very difficult book to read anyway. Like if you're reading in Spanish, because we say that Gabriel Garcia Marquez is really baroque, so he kind of like makes this very flourished way of speaking, and again the book is really long. So I think if you're trying to learn Spanish or to practice, I don't think it's a book to start with because it can be really intense, and it has like this whole idea with the families repeating names. So
Yeah.
don't read 100 Years of Solitude if you want to practice your Spanish.
Yeah, I was so stubborn about it. I'm almost done with the book now, but I mean, I can still because I read it in English before, so it was okay. So I couldn't understood the storyline, but I was looking at this thing. I'm like, I don't remember 90% of the words that I'm encountering.
Yeah, and the good thing about the book that you have, it has a family tree. So one of the things that gets really confusing is the names because they repeat names and everything. So at least you have a family tree there that you can use. Even if you read the book in English, you can go back to the family tree.
Yes, this is like I think this is my first time reading in Spanish. I read it 2 or 3 times in English, and I
Nice.
still get stuff mixed up. Like I had to like, which Aureliano is this one?
Yeah. Uh,
Oh yeah, but oh, thank you. I do want to read the I'm trying to remember the translation. Love in the Time of Cholera. I do want to read that one. Yeah. So
yeah, very nice. It's
hopefully
a beautiful book.
it is okay.
Yeah,
That'll be the next one after I get through with this one.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, but thank you for reminding me that. And
Uh,
thank you again for your time. And hopefully we'll connect via Zoom. Hopefully we can do it in person. Hopefully I'll get over to
yeah.
London. I've been telling David I have to try to get
If
over
I
there.
to do the exhibition, we can do one that's related to that as well. That would be amazing. And I look forward to hearing the project that you're gonna do with Cien Años de Soledad. So send me the music when it's ready.
Oh, we'll do. Okay,
Amazing.
once again, thank you.
Okay, Daryl, thank you so much for the invitation.
Oh, of course, thank you. This is Luisa Rivera once more for joining us for Oki Magazine's YouTube channel, and we'll have her again soon. Thank you once again.
Lovely. Thank you. Bye. Take care.
Okay, take care. Bye bye.
Bye.